Welcome back to Stocklabs for another market recap. We just wrapped up the second to last trading week of July on the 22nd, and it was overall a decent week for markets. We basically had up moves for all of the major indices. We've got the Russell actually led 3.74%. The Qs weren't far behind, 3.5%. S&P 2.6, and the Dow trailing a little bit, only up 2%. But risk was definitely on for most of this week. Kind of started down on Monday and then rallied Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but then Friday closed pretty soft. So kind of the bookends of the week were soft, but the middle was trendy to the upside. For the mega caps that we have, they kind of took over a little bit, driving some of the price action for the week. Altogether up 6%, so even better than just the NASDAQ. Google was down 3.5%, kind of an outlier, and Microsoft trailed 1.5%. But big week from Netflix. They had earnings up 16%. Tesla was up 13%. Even semis were doing well most of the week. Nvidia up 10%. I know, our trader extraordinaire, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House, she has, I don't know, 5 million worth of Nvidia or Nvidia calls or something like that. So yeah, bullish, semis kind of trended seemingly just off of that. Hey, Nancy's buying semis. Let me get some semis. So as far as the industry breadth for the week, that's month. So week to date, pretty broad to the upside. Healthcare flat-ish, and utilities kind of down on the on more of the risk-on move. And yeah, a lot of good action across a bunch of industries. Tech up 3.5%, so in line with NASDAQ basically. Services kind of same thing, 3.9%. Industrials up 4.5%, and consumer up 3%. For subsectors, decent chunk up over 5%. What was sort of leading? Okay, we have a few semiconductor subsectors. There's some stuff related to sort of the general economy. You see like apparel stores, consumer services, trucking, plastics, electronics, and things like that. Got 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 38 sectors up 5%, not too bad. We've definitely seen worse this year. So from a breadth perspective, it's, we've had a few weeks more recently that have had stronger breadth than what we've been able to string together most weeks for the year so far. And underperformers wasn't really a whole lot that was, getting shellacked on the downside. So this is like this is a pretty good sign for the market overall. For our breadth on a market cap basis, 1 to 5 billion, mid caps up 4%, so a little better than the Russell. 5 to 10 billion, 4.2%. So again, a little bit better than the Russell. Large caps, 10 to 50 billion, up 3.4%. Mega caps, up 3.43%. And Terra caps only up 2.5%. So kind of surprising because the leadership Terra caps were up, some 6%. So, this is kind of a deviation, all the other 100 billion companies basically really underperformed as a group. That leadership tech cohort, Apple, Google, or well, Google was down, but Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, those ones. But overall, from top to bottom across market caps, pretty strong. 1 to 5 billion was 4%, and 50 to 100 was 3.43%, and everything else was kind of in the middle, with the exception of these 100 billion, this 100 billion group. So if we look at what intelligence is expecting for this week, probably, it's expecting some softness. So Russell, this is short Russell. And then we've got oil. Okay, Ultra Oil and OIH is oil services, and then short bonds and big crypto stocks. Might be okay this week still. And on the downside, we've got a bunch of stuff. Let's see. So FAS, SOX, short banks, short semis, short oil are all bearish, so bullish those sectors. Mid cap bull ETF is bearish, so bearish mid caps. Let's see, big banks, inverse big banks, so bullish banks. Okay, so FAS and Bank D are bearish financials. Wheat downside, NFTs downside, fintech downside. Yeah, kind of hard to make sense of what's going on here. Like, I guess, if we're in the midst of some trend change, then some of these things become a little bit jumbled. Now, the Russell was rated bearish from the previous screen. But if all of this stuff, financials and oil and gas, semis and all of that stuff is up, then, market's going to be up. So kind of hard to tell. One thing we can sort of put the week's performance into context is that we haven't had any back-to-back up weeks in the market for a long time, for I think at least a couple months. So NASDAQ just had an up week this week, hasn't produced back-to-back up weeks since around March. And S&P is not much different. So we had an up week this week. If you're just going by sort of the trends of the year, you would expect a down week this week. So we'll see. It's kind of going to be a big week, month end and everything coming up. Intelligence for the market overall is pretty mixed. So not a whole lot to draw from this. Maybe you just have a sort of week of consolidation after the up week this week, maybe with some slight downside just because of how the trend for the year has gone. It's kind of hard to tell. But overall, pretty good week for this week. Bulls are going to try and close out the month strong and sort of send a message for the rest of the summer as we kind of approach August. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Be back at it next week, and good luck.